Hey everybody, Evan here from Evan's Detailing and Polishing. I got a Makita grinder here. Everybody's been asking me how to clean them out, or people are asking why is my buffer getting hot. I'll show you why. We're going to rip this one apart today. It's a Makita GA7021. It's a 6,000 RPM grinder. As I said before, only supposed to be spinning these buffs at 2,200 RPM or less, but we here in our shop spin them at 6,000. We use extra safety for that stuff. But I'm going to show you how to rip this one apart today. First thing we do is grab your flat head and pull your brushes out. These are your brushes, contact points. Take both sides out. Once you take them out, make things a lot easier if you start there. What we do is we take the 4 screws out of the head. Once you get the 4 screws out, you just slide it apart. Set that part aside for right now. Take the plastic trim ring off. Look at all that stuff jammed in there. I don't know if you can see real close up. See all that dirty, nasty stuff inside of there? You see it? All that stuff is what's making it hot. That stuff likes to pack in there. So what I do is I take my air hose. I like to blow it away from my trigger first. Usually I wear my respirator when I do this because it gets pretty nasty here in a second. Now that we've got it nice and clean inside of the body, now we grab the head. The head, you've got a few different places. On this model, the old 9067Ls had less area on the head to clean, but these GA7021s are more ergonomic or whatever, so they got a few more spots to clean out. So spray around in all the areas. Pretty much anywhere you see a vent hole you want to clean. What else I like to do when I've got these apart is I like to pull the head completely off where the gear is. Just 4 more screws. Now inside of here is where your gear is. The secret to getting your grinders to last a long time is keeping them clean and keeping them greased. I'm going to need my flathead here to separate them. Alright, now if you look inside of here, looks like the grease is getting a little low, getting a little wet. What I like to do is put a little more grease in there so that it stays completely greased. And it only really runs on the outside part, so you don't need to fill this thing completely full of grease. You fill it completely full of grease, you're just going to end up with grease all over on the inside of your machine. So what I usually do is, if the grease still looks pretty good, I use high-speed grease and just put a couple pumps in there. That's more than enough. Make sure it's high-speed grease. You don't use high-speed grease, you're going to end up replacing grinders more often too. Make sure it seats back down, make sure it's tight, and put it back together the exact same way it came apart. Start at the end, work your way back around. Some people ask me too, they say I'm left-handed, but these grinders all seem right-handed. What you can do, always make sure you put that plastic trim ring in there. There is actually a function of this thing. It helps the airflow move through there and keep it from getting plugged up too fast. You take them out, they'll really get plugged up fast. But what you can do is you can put this, mount it back together the opposite way. Your buffer isn't going to spin the opposite way, it's just going to have the trigger on the opposite side. If you wanted to, you could flip it around to put the trigger on the opposite side. Now we're going to put our screws back in. And of course, we put our brushes back in last. If you put them in before you put the main part of the body back together, you're not going to get it back in there. Not only will cleaning it out help it run cooler and live longer, but it'll also prevent fires. A lot of times your stuff gets built up in there and starts to smoke and smolder, and it'll actually start on fire from time to time. But there it is, completely ripped apart, cleaned out, tore back, put back together. You can rip the trigger area apart too and clean it out if it starts getting, if the lock doesn't want to work anymore. Sometimes when it gets full, the lock will stop working. Just rip it apart. It's just 4 screws in there as well. But this one just ripped it apart last time I pulled the trigger apart and cleaned it out. So that's it. And as always, head on over to GoShineOn.com. That's where we carry all of our products. The buffs, rouges, everything but your buffers. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.